Soundcity 985. We have Kagwe Mungai here on the home run with EDK. Listen, it's a time in African music where you see that African music is moving across borders right now.
That's right.
We hear a lot of collaborations between Niger artists and international artists, but even more importantly, with artists from other African countries. We've seen Yemi Alade and Sauti Sol collaborations. We've seen Two-Face with other people. We've seen Niger and South Africa, Niger and Kenya, Niger and Ghana, and everything. And Kagwe is actually a Kenyan artist who is here today on Soundcity. I found it interesting when I was doing some research about you. There's one article that described you as an Afro funk house artist. It's like so much, man.
Yeah.
What is that about? Tell us about you quickly, a quick Kagwe 101.
So I actually came up with that definition because it means nothing. It actually means nothing because like one day I feel like doing dancehall, the next day I feel like doing hip hop, and I've been influenced by so much music and so many people and so much of my experiences from around the world that I don't want to confine myself to a particular genre. So right now it stands at Afro Kagwe. That's the current definition of the style of music I make, which is just music that makes you happy, music that makes you think, music that makes you feel. And that's what I think music is supposed to do.
Exactly, and music is supposed to cross borders as well.
Right.
I was just mentioning earlier, you're Kenyan, but you're in Nigeria doing radio rounds. It's clearly a reason for that. You feel you're comfortable with the quality of the music to take it out of Kenya now, don't you?
Of course. First of all, I'm my own biggest fan. You know, let me start there. But also my biggest critic. So by the time I'm putting music out and I feel like it should be on the radio, then I've scrutinized it and I love it to the point where I think there's nothing I should have changed. Obviously, looking back, you know, you can always say, oh, I would have done this differently, that differently. But right now, I'm happy with the music that I'm making. All
right. Now, I'm very interested in your come-up because I found it very interesting. I mean, you're born in Kenya.
Born in Kenya.
But you moved to SA with your parents at some point.
Yeah.
You schooled in England.
Yeah.
And how did living in those different cultures influence your sound?
I mean, as you said, it's one of those things. My mom had a job that really forced her to move quite a bit. So grew up in Nairobi, in Kampala, in Uganda, in Johannesburg, in the SA, and then in Southampton, in the UK. And a lot of that has influenced my sound. So a lot of my rhythmic, impact came from South Africa. You know, a lot of the dancehall impact. I don't know if you've been to Uganda or Kampala, but there's a big dancehall culture in that part of the world, and that's where that came from. You know, a lot of my R&B and classical stuff came from the UK. I started playing saxophone because of Fela from Nigeria. So it's all of these different things that have culminated so that I make the music that I make.
All right. So you listened to a whole bunch of stuff as a kid.
A lot. Yeah, music was always on. My mom told me I used to sing myself to sleep. So music 24/7.
All right. So when did you go pro?
In 2012. 2012 is when I finished university and I went back to Nairobi and I said I'm going to do this thing properly. And then it wasn't until about 2014 when I produced a song for Sauti Sol that then we went on to win an MTV Europe award for. So 2012 was the come up.
You dropped an EP that year. What was it called?
I dropped a come up. It was called It Only Gets Better. And that was just basically a thing of me just proclaiming that, you know, from here it's only upwards, you know, so it only gets better.
Okay, so prior to you know, between the time of 2012 and here now, I'll be honest, when I got your details, and I'd heard the name Kagwe somewhere, but I didn't know it.
Right.
You know, when I did some reading and everything, it turns out that you done a cover of Ice Prince's Oleko. That's one of the biggest Niger songs.
Yeah.
Maybe 20 years.
It's a classic.
It's a classic.
It's a classic,
right?
yeah.
Ice Prince's bars, Brimo's hook, and everything.
Definitely.
Why did you pick that one up?
I don't know, man. Like you said, it's a classic, you know. So I wasn't trying to outdo or anything. For me, it was just trying to pay homage, and I hadn't felt like any of the covers had done it right the way I would have. Like none of them like wowed me. They were dope covers. Some of them were like nice, but you know, none of them wowed me. So I went to the studio. I made my own beat. I used the chorus that Brimo sang, and then I spit my own bars, you know, and then put it out to the ether.
And good stuff. Like you actually got props for it.
Yeah. No, it did quite well. It's actually one of the things that that really got me recognition, at least in East Africa and Nairobi, to be more specific.
Good stuff. Now, you mentioned twice already that you produce. I mean, you produce an award-winning song for Sauti Sol.
Yes.
You produced the Only Cool Thing for yourself. And I think you self-produced your EP. Did you do that?
I did.
And also, it's another thing that's interesting for me, apart from the fact that you're producing for all these guys, and your production credits are pretty impressive already. You also direct videos.
I do.
What you study in school?
Okay, so I wanted to study music, right?
Yeah.
And so having African parents, my mom was like, cool, but like you have to bring me my degree,
Yeah.
So I had to do a management sciences degree as well. So I did a music degree, and then I did a management sciences degree. And the two actually went hand in hand quite well, especially when I was starting out my career,
All right. I mean, it's super impressive. You've done production for Sauti Sol, Eric Onaina, Victoria Kimani, Vanessa Ndeye, exactly.
Yeah.
Who have you enjoyed working with the most so far?
I don't know. I think there's it's different every time, and you'll find that I found even some artists. I wouldn't mention which ones, but like I've been in the studio with some artists that I really respect, but like there just was no chemistry, and it just didn't work out. And then sometimes you get in and immediately things just flow. And I think the one that things just happened so organically would have maybe been Sauti Sol. We weren't even supposed to be producing anything that day. We just were supposed to be meeting to hang out, to just chill and talk. I was supposed to play them a bunch of beats. Then they were basically just giving me airtime. I was that new kid on the block. Yeah. It's like, okay, cool, let's just give the kid a chance to like do some stuff. And then I played this one beat, and they went crazy. They were like, get the mic out, we're gonna record right now, So that for me was maybe one of the funnest experiences.
All right. So tell us what's new with you right now.
Lots. 2017 has been a great year. It's been a great year. I was on tour earlier this year, so started off with a USA tour, then went back home, did a national tour. Then I put out a bunch of singles. This song called African Lady, which did really, really well. After that, put out a collaborative project with some friends back home, and that's called Kama Kawaida. That did really well as well. Nyumbani with a Congolese artist called Alicious, and a whole bunch of singles. And then I met Niniola in Nairobi at Coke Studio, and we managed to click. We got in the studio, and we wrote a song.
I'll give you a secret. Niniola is going to be here soon too, so you guys can vibe.
Dumb.
But I mean, you're obviously working. You think I enjoyed, because I heard, I think a couple of, I got one song sent to me, and then I took time out and I actually tried to enjoy the songs.
Okay.
What are the qualities you look for in artists before you collaborate with them?
I don't know. I think artistic vision. You can always tell artistic vision, and I think you can always tell authenticity. As soon as you hear an artist on a mic or on a song or whatever, you can always tell if someone is trying to be something or if someone is just authentically themselves. And I find Niniola is one of the most authentic artists I've ever met.
All right, so something is going to happen there? Oh,
yeah. So that we're going to be shooting the video, I think, in the next couple of days or hours, actually. Hours at this point. So it's going to be a Niniola like you've never heard her before.
Please hear that. I listened to your song Baz with Council.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Thank you very much.
So is there, I know obviously you said you've come back, just come off tour.
Yeah.
And you have a really busy 2017 so far.
Right.
What's 2018 shaping out like? What in terms of new music,
yes.
collaborations coming out?
Lots of new music, lots of collaborations. This is part of the reason that I'm here as well, to come and be able to plug into the Nigerian music scene and figure out who and what sounds I want to work with. So this is all building up to my album. Album was actually supposed to be released sometime end of this year, but seeing as that we've had quite a crazy election year, we've had 2 elections in 1 year. It's been a bit nuts. So we've had to push it, So that's probably going to be sometime early next year, between maybe January and April. Gonna dropping the album.
So the political climate in Kenya, like you mentioned, it's been a bit tense. I mean,
yeah.
The election, and then there was the court thing, and then the election again.
Yeah.
How's that affecting the creative space down there?
It's affecting every space. Let me tell you, every single space. There's not like from the lady that's selling vegetables on the side of the road, to the CEOs and hedge fund investors and all of that. Like it's really affecting everyone. But at this point, we have a president-elect. the people just wanted a president. We just wanted to move forward at this point. You know, I think everyone is just really tired of the standstill, and the people are generally united. The politicians, I think, are trying to divide us, but we're united. So, yeah.
So you find that this is clearly not just a Kenyan thing; it's also across other parts of Africa.
Oh yeah.
And how do you feel, artists like yourself can use music as a unifying tool, rather, to bridge borders? Because like you mentioned, politicians will try to divide us. They will try to play national cards, ethnic cards, and everything.
Right.
But we have someone like you from Kenya collaborating with Nigerian musicians. You've
Right.
obviously grown up in different cultures.
Yeah.
What's the bigger picture with music in that kind of space?
Well, I mean, for me, the whole thing has always been this. It's been my main motivator from the beginning, and it's always impact. You know, whatever way you can impact people, I think that's the goal. I'm not an activist. I'm not gonna say that I'm gonna go to the streets or that I'm about holding placards and whatever. But I think my biggest strength is in my communicating impact. So I'll tell you a story that either I've experienced or that a friend has experienced in various different capacities, whether it's love, whether it's hardship, whether it might even be political. I haven't written a political song, but it might be one day. But ultimately, it's to impact, and I realized that for the first time when a guy walked up to me a few years ago and said, "This song that you wrote, it changed my life. I was going through this thing in my life, and like you helped me move from that place. So thank you." So that for me is the most important thing.
It's always great to get feedback like that, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
So let's wrap up real quick now. Have you had? Because I know it's always difficult for artists on the come up, and you're doing it differently. You're not just trying to break the Kenyan market. I mean, you have some sort of recognition there, but you want to do a Pan-African thing and hopefully internationally as well.
Oh yeah.
Have you had Have you taken any steps that you wish maybe you could have done things differently?
In what way?
Like pushing your music, working with certain people, collaborating with certain people, making certain moves to certain markets at a certain time when it probably wasn't quite right yet.
I don't know. I don't believe in regrets. I don't believe in regrets. Every decision that I've made, whether good or bad, has brought me to this point. To this very studio right now. So and there's no point in what ifing and saying, because like there's no such thing as what if. You're here now, right? So I live in the present, and all the moves that I've made, I'm grateful for, and all the moves that I am making are going to take me to the place where I believe I need to be. Yeah.
All right, Kagwe Mungai, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right,
Cheers, man.
I'm just gonna need you to say, "This is Kagwe Mungai. You listen to Soundcity 98.5."
Okay, cool, no problem. Wagwan, Nigeria. This is your boy Kagwe Mungai, all the way from East Africa, Nairobi, Kenya, and you are listening to Sound City Radio.
Do another one, Urban Radio.
Okay.
Another station here.
Okay.
Yeah, 96.5.
I was focused.
Urban 96.
Okay, Urban 96.
Yeah.
Okay. Wagwan, sorry. I usually say Wagwan Nairobi.
Yeah, I did. You must have done those like tons of times, different stations.
Wagwan, Nigeria. This is your boy Kagwe Mungai, all the way from Nairobi, Kenya, and you are listening to Urban 96.FM.
Yeah, we'll take the Urban 96 part.
Okay.
Okay. Because it's 96.5. Right? So the brand is 9.